Yeah, these kinds of logs are generated every time a call is made to 911. Obviously, the first call comes in and all the dispatchers know is shots have been fired. They initially have no idea what's happening inside the Pulse nightclub. It starts at 2:02 a.m. The first note reads, shots fired. 2:03 a.m. Shots still being fired. Those were the first calls into 911 from the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. For the next 3 hours, the calls kept coming, mostly from terrified people inside the club, eventually from officers who arrive on scene. 2:04 a.m., caller advises he's hiding upstairs. 2:06 a.m., caller is whispering. She's in the bathroom. Another call at 2:06. Caller is upstairs in an attic, hiding. He cannot get out of the room he's in. For every call, dispatchers say they hear shots and people screaming in the background. At 2:10 a.m., officers make entry at the patio. They report hearing a lot of screaming. 2:17, SWAT is called out. 23 minutes after that, 2:40 a.m., the shooter himself calls and pledges allegiance to the Islamic State. At 2:52 a.m., a call comes in saying the shooter has several bombs strapped to him. We later learned that wasn't true. 4:21 a.m., police remove an air conditioning unit and evacuate people through a window in the dressing room. 5:07, someone calls to say they're hearing 4 explosions. The dispatcher reports hearing them also. And then 8 minutes later, at 5:15 a.m., 3 hours and 3 minutes after the first call came in, the dispatcher records 2 words, subject down. There were hundreds of calls made to 911 in all. 346 police officers responded to the scene. In the newsroom, Ari Height, WPBF 25 News.
Emails and text messages released by the Orlando Fire Department today indicate that one of the exits at the Pulse nightclub was blocked or inoperable weeks before the massacre. But hours after the initial report was released, the fire department and Pulse officials disputed those accounts. According to the Orlando Sentinel, the fire chief said the initial inspection report was inaccurate and the person who completed the report made a mistake and checked the wrong box on the report. The records released today also suggest that the gay nightclub had twice the number of exits needed to accommodate its maximum occupancy of 300 people. Back on June 12th, gunman Omar Mateen opened fire inside the nightclub, killing 49 people and injuring 53 others. Meanwhile, several hearings that were supposed to lay out ground rules on the fight between media companies and the city of Orlando have now been moved to federal court. About 24 media organizations filed a lawsuit against the city of Orlando, claiming city officials are wrongly withholding recordings of the calls and communications between Omar Mateen and the Orlando Police Department. Mateen was killed by police in a shootout. City officials claim the recordings are exempt under Florida law.
Florida Democrats had little trouble rounding up enough members to call for a special session to debate gun laws following the Pulse nightclub massacre. However, it may be nearly impossible in the next week to score enough Republicans to discuss whether people on federal terror watch list should be allowed to buy a gun. In a prepared statement, House Democratic leader designate Janet Cruz said the legislation cannot wait until the next regular session of the legislature, which is next March. But the National Rifle Association says Democrats are, quote, exploiting a tragedy for political gain.
I have not heard a single Republican say that they were interested in spending the taxpayers' money for a special session that would achieve nothing but more publicity for Democrats.
Support for a special session is required from 3/5 of the members of each chamber of the legislature, something that will be extremely difficult under current Republican majorities. Mike?
All right, Todd, let's talk about the weather. It continues to be hot and mostly dry. Current temperatures still in the upper range of the 80s, even the low 90s. And when you factor in those high dew points in the low range of the 70s, it feels more like 95, almost 100 degrees across the region. Not much shade. First alert Doppler radar finding just a few isolated showers. What's left of the rain here in Royal Palm Beach almost done. A few showers at Wellington also beginning to weaken as well. But the storms more numerous come tomorrow. We'll talk about that when I'm back in a couple minutes.
All right, Mike, thank you. After 5 weeks on American soil, 21 Cuban migrants are headed back to Cuba. You may recall the migrants climbed a lighthouse and refused to come down for some 8 hours. They eventually surrendered. Today, a federal judge ruled that the U.S.'s wet foot, dry foot policy does not apply to the lighthouse. It is unclear what actions the migrants' attorneys will take next. Well, it is something all parents need to know. Unsafe toys on store shelves right now.
Coming up, the annual list outlining the toys you may not want to buy for your child. You're watching WPBF 25 News. 2012 attacks on Benghazi, a U.S. consulate there, are a red-hot issue in the race for the White House.
Today in Denver, presumptive Democratic nominee and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is responding to a new congressional report released by House Republicans. Donald Trump is on the attack.
Hillary Clinton touring a Denver training facility, touting an innovation plan.
I do plead guilty to being a policy wonk.
And surprising the crowd, taking a question about the House Republican report on Benghazi.
After more than 2 years and $7 million, I'll leave it to others to characterize this report, but I think it's pretty clear it's time to move on.
The 800-page report released by the panel's chairman, Trey Gowdy, didn't have a smoking gun against Clinton.
Speaker Boehner nor Speaker Ryan have ever asked me to do anything about 2016 presidential politics.
Though some Republicans pushed to blame the presumptive nominee with an addendum. Donald Trump going after Clinton on another issue at his first campaign event since christening his golf courses in Scotland.
Hillary Clinton and her friends in global finance want to scare America into thinking small.
This is my fight song.
And she's been one of Clinton's fiercest attack dogs against Trump. Could Senator Elizabeth Warren take the VP's spot? The Massachusetts senator responding on ABC's The View.
Yesterday was not about vice president. Yesterday was about having a chance to get out there with the woman who is going to be the next president of the United States.
You're not going to answer the question. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
ABC News has learned the Massachusetts senator is among the names being formally vetted as a possible Clinton running mate. Megan Hughes, ABC News, Washington.
Well, we all know college can be costly, but if your teenage daughter or son becomes a super senior, it can cost you a fortune. Todd, are you familiar with this term?
I got no comment.
Straight ahead, how much more money you'll have to shell out for extra years in school.
Also coming up, incredible video of the most powerful rocket in the world. You're watching WPBF 25 News.
College years, many will say they were the best years of your life.
I don't remember them, they were so long ago. But as Aaron Guy explains, if college students extend their time at school, it could cost them, and maybe you, big bucks.
The term fifth-year senior is common on college campuses. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, only 40% of students who started school in 2008 graduated with their bachelor's degree in 4 years. 60% completed the program in 6 years. If you're thinking about spending an additional year or two completing your bachelor's degree, beware. It could cost you nearly $300,000 extra. That's according to a study by NerdWallet. They factored in the so-called real cost as out-of-pocket tuition and the interest paid on student loans over 10 years. The opportunity cost are the lost wages you would have earned on the job and the interest you would have earned on money invested in a retirement account. So if you want to graduate in 4 years, here's what you can do. Carry a 15-credit-hour course load each semester. Be on time to register for classes. That way you get the courses that you really need. Talk to an advisor and plan your career path. Know the requirements of your degree program and tailor your schedule toward that program. And if you plan to transfer to another school before graduation, look for schools that will honor your credits. That way you won't have to spend time repeating something you've already studied.
It is important to note that sometimes there are good reasons for becoming a super senior, as they're often called. Sometimes people have to go through college and work, and they have to take a lighter class load because they need to make money to pay for college. Other programs are designed to actually take 5 years, so it's important to do your research. In the studio, Aaron Guy, WPBF 25 News.
Toy guns, kiddie pools, hoverboards, and backyard trampolines are among just some of the things that made an annual list of hazardous summer toys. Consumer group World Against Toys Causing Harm, also known as WATCH, presented the annual report today at a children's hospital in Boston. The group's president says the summer months account for nearly half of the injury-related deaths to children, and nearly 2.5 million kids are injured in accidents each summer.
Google is hoping to inspire the next generation of tech innovators. The company just announced a product called Project Blocks. The goal is to teach kids how to program and make cool gadgets. They'll be given 3 basic components that they'll use to produce control mechanisms for robots, toys, tablets. Project Blocks is not yet available in stores.
Facebook wants to help you share more videos.
They're rolling out a new feature called Slideshow to iOS devices this week. It lets users quickly create short video clips, which can then be customized with music and themes. Felicia will be right there at the top of that list.
I don't know about that. Well, visual hashtags are coming to Twitter. The site is introducing a new feature called Hashtag Stickers, which allows users to attach emojis to their images. It will be available for iOS and Android devices in the next few weeks.
From coast to coast, we've been telling you millions of Americans are dealing with severe weather conditions. Out west, fire department officials in California say the wildfire threat is still there as homeowners in Kern County return to their neighborhoods. After spreading to more than 70 square miles, that fire now 40% contained, but not before killing 2 people and destroying 200 homes. On the East Coast, the threat today for the Northeast is from mostly damaging winds, large hail, heavy rains, and West Virginia is still trying to recover from severe flooding there. The Federal Emergency Management Agency has received over 1,000 applications from people asking for assistance so far following the devastating flooding that slammed that area.
Well, this just may be the coolest video you see today. NASA conducted its final qualification test on the booster for the most powerful rocket in the world. The test was performed in Utah. Boosters like this will be used to send off the first test flight with NASA's Orion spacecraft. It will be considered a key milestone in the agency's journey to Mars. The launch to Mars is expected to happen in 2018.
We plan to show you that launch live. We're a few years ahead of ourselves, but we still have plans.
We're ready. We're ready,
Yes,
right?
we are.
We have faith it will happen in the next 2
Yes, we
years,
will.
right?
That's pretty cool when you think about it. I mean, a rocket that big going to Mars in just a couple of years. I mean,
We've been
phenomenal.
talking about it for years.
Hold on to that thought, Mike, because you can express it again in 2 years.
Okay, I'll just file that away. Hey, weather-wise, it's dry right now. It's been hot. That's been the kind of the theme so far during the month of June, but not much rain, and that's odd because June, as you know, is usually one of our wettest months. We get the rain coming back tomorrow and again on Thursday, especially in the afternoon. Let's begin with a look outside, and as you can see, blue skies. That's the story right now at the beach and across most of South Florida. You're looking at our Treasure Coast First Alert Skycam network. A hot, mostly dry day. Still tracking a couple of showers, but most of the rain is just about done. The story continues to be above average temperatures. So far this month, we've had 14 days out of the 28 reaching 90 degrees or higher. The morning low right around 77 degrees. And you can see the normal high about 89 degrees. 88 right now in West Palm, 90 in Stewart, 87 in Vero Beach. Current temperature around Lake Okeechobee just a tad warmer. Currently in Okeechobee, it's 90 degrees. And again, what's missing from what is historically the second wettest month of the year, what's missing in this June of 2016? Water. Not much going on. First Alert Doppler radar, we were tracking some rain, as you know, around Royal Palm Beach a short time ago, around Wellington over the past hour, but nearly all that rain is done. We look at the Treasure Coast